for what you claim is wrong or right. That feeling too intelligent to take a stand and fight.
Yeah, this commentary is very obvious and bland, but you can tell how smart I am from my British accent.
Me, an intellectual, picking the lowest fruit.
Candid.
Just to prove how smart I am, though all my points are moot.
Faggot.
Look at me, so rational, a skeptic of the times.
Wow.
Let's debate feminism a few more hundred times.
Hey, guys, did you see that blue-haired SJW over there? What a freak, right? Hey, donate to my Patreon.
All I wanna do is keep you from moving forward. All I wanna do is keep you from moving forward.
Listen, just settle down for a second. Just check this out. I just posted a video. Okay, it's like a 3-hour talk session between me and 10 other people who pretty much share my exact opinion, and it's hardly constructive whatsoever.
Me, an intellectual, so similar to you. Only true enlightenment comes from avoiding truth. What is a conclusion? I've never heard that term. Ideologies take spine, but I'm just a worm. Me, an intellectual, just listen to my voice. Can't you tell I am so right when I don't make a choice? Me, an intellectual, I never pick a side. Nothing ever really would change if I committed suicide.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a wonderful Saturday evening, it looks about, or kind of that period right beforehand. The sun's just about to set. Anyway, enough about how it is outside. Let's kill this. Alright, so today we're finally going to talk about Sargon. I want to talk about Styx as well, but I'm going to save that for another episode. Might go dig into that later on. But right now, I want Sargon to be the focus, because Sargon has accomplished something. Have to report, I'm shocked to say it, he's accomplished something. He successfully destroyed an entire political party. Like, it's dead. UKIP is dead. He killed it. He reverse Midas touched it to death. Like, I don't see them recovering from this. Show you what I mean by that. Browsers here. And that's not it. Let's fix that. That's much better. There we go. Yeah, look at that happy Gerard. Look at that happy face right there of Farage laughing at this shit. UKIP loses 80% of council seats in local election, hammering after lurch to far right. Jared Batten's party fails to capitalize on Tory collapse, despite absence of Farage's Brexit party from ballot papers. UKIP has lost around 80% of the council seats it defended on Thursday in a local election, hammering following a political lurch to the right. Gerard Batten's party went into Thursday's contest with 104 councillors and ended up with just 22 as of the 4 p.m. tally on results today. Wow, just amazing. Yeah, this is quite possibly some of the funniest shit. Let's dig a little bit deeper into that. Like, what really caused all this negative publicity for UKIP? Why would everyone just like turn on UKIP? We got an article here on it, and this is the clip that the Independent decided to put in front of it to illustrate the point. I'm gonna play that real quick.
How many times are you going to ask me the same question? Thank you very much.
On the rape joke, you said it was a satirical comment. What did you mean by that?
Well, go and ask Carl Benjamin. This is a 3-year-old tweet that he did in the context of some Twitter trolling and what people were doing.
No, I'm not asking
And
about the comments he made. I'm asking about your defence of his comments, because he remains a UKIP candidate and you are the leader of the party, and so you have made a decision to keep him as a candidate.
He has made an ill-considered remark, and if you were going to stop people taking part in public life or anything else because of some stupid, ill-considered remark of several years before, then I don't think you'd have anybody in Parliament or anywhere else in public life, because we all do things which we regret. He can defend it or not as he likes, but I'm not going to stop having a valuable candidate on the list, someone who can get us access to social media and thousands more people that we can talk to that we can't do through social media, where few and few people are, less and less people are actually listening to it or taking notice of it. So we're seeking other avenues to the public.
That kind of comment, though, has prompted some concerns.
How many times are you going to ask me the
voters?
same question? How many times are you going to ask me the same question? Thank you very much.
I just love this reporter. And yeah, I heard that the volume was a little low. I'm going to turn it up on the playback. Fixed it. But yeah, this reporter who keeps on hammering these issues, I love her. She just keeps on going at it, and she does it in such a cordial way. And all they can do is spurg out when they're confronted with this dumb shit, because they don't know. The truth is, Sargon isn't a comedian. Sargon doesn't know how to do comedy. He fails at it. He doesn't know how to tell a joke. He doesn't know how to get people to laugh. He just knows how to trigger liberals, which incidentally makes people laugh on occasion. But he's not doing this because he's some kind of comedic genius. In fact, I don't even think the original tweet was satire so much as it was just payback for something she found funny. Because the thing is, this whole thing started because there were some comments by some MRA who was like bringing up like, oh, male suicide rates are high or some gay shit like that. And she just laughed at him at the place. And that was disrespectful, and she apologized for it. But apparently this was the latest target for the anti-social justice crowd. So, of course, Sargon decided to chime in the most autistic way possible by ostensibly threatening to rape her. Now, you can beat around the bush that, oh, well, it wasn't a rape threat because he said he wouldn't do the thing he was presenting towards her. So it doesn't count, all right, guys? You just don't get it. It's a play on the media. You're just too stupid to understand internet culture. You gotta have a brain the size of gotta have a brain at least yay high in order to understand how humorous this is and how this is an epic troll. But the truth of the matter is, no, these guys are just mad because they're not being taken seriously. Because whenever they show themselves in public, they get laughed at. That's what this is all about. They cannot stand being laughed at for their dumb ideas. And we'll get more into that, but is it really the case that this specific issue is what happened here, is why 80% of the party is what they're losing? I'm going to say yes. Reason being, if you just do a news search, and as you can see I'm in incognito mode, so this isn't tailored towards a specific trend of mine, you can tell that, yeah, you can just try this yourself. UKIP. Everything's about this stupid doubling down that Sargon's doing, where he goes from, I wouldn't even rape you, to, okay, I might sort of rape you because I'm trying to be lay funny man. I'm trying to be the Trump guy. But all he's doing is playing defense over and over and over again. And it's blowing up in his face. That's not how Trump operated. Trump didn't operate by constantly playing defense like Sargon is doing. How Trump operated was whenever someone hit him, he'd go ahead and he look at his opponent square in the eye, ignore the complaint, and then hit them with something else that was much stickier, that would really get under them, and they wouldn't have a way to respond to that. That's how Trump operated, and Trump is very, very good at doing that because Trump is an actual troll. Sargon is a guy who wants to be a troll because Trump is an actual troll and a politician. Sargon, on the other hand, is a guy who wants to be a politician and a troll, but can't be either. He does not have the brain power or the understanding to get to that point. And and someone in the chat mentions Tommy Robinson. Yeah, I'm absolutely dead certain that Tommy Robinson also contributed to this. Don't get me wrong, because again, as I brought up before, Tommy Robinson was part of some really hardcore racist shit parties. Like, he was part of the not so much the EDL, but the other party before that, the British National Party. Like, they had a policy against people's with certain skin color joining in, and Farage wanted anyone associated with that to fuck off because it would be bad for their message, because they were trying to uncuck Britain and get rid of this idea that they were a bunch of racists. And as a result, Farage decided to pull out. And that's led to another loss. That also contributed to the elections favoring the other parties. Now, we don't know exactly if Farage will win out at the end of this. I can't really say I agree with everything with Farage. I didn't like some of his statements, which I might like. It's not really like, I didn't like some of his statements on like Islam, as to like the justifications as to why Islam is okay and acceptable in the UK. I mean, his overall position is correct, but the way he gets there is a bit off. But really, I think the blame should be put on Sargon, because Sargon really changed the direction, attitude, and mood of the party. He has Batten using his talking points on air and stuff like that. Batten can only do his best to try and defend himself, and he's going on about these things about like my free speech, my intolerant left, etc. And this is all Sargon's doing. If he didn't come in, this wouldn't be the case. And he doesn't know. And the thing is, Sargon could potentially just turn this around to his favor. Like, I advise him giving the no comment line. If he just didn't spurg out and just went ahead and answered the question by saying, oh, it was, honestly, I don't even think he could answer, like, if he could answer with this by just saying, oh, it was just a joke, and jokes aren't really meant to be taken seriously. If he said that, or like words to that effect, instead of like the way he responded, which I have that up as well. And I also noticed something funny here that I didn't pick up the first time while seeing it. So I'm going to play this again just to highlight that. It's just a bit. Go.
So I would like to ask Carl Benjamin why you think it is acceptable to say on Twitter that you wouldn't even rate a female lay
Because I don't think that there are any difference in men in the way that we should treat them. Unlike the establishment, unlike our judges who literally say, if you were a man, I would send you to jail, I think we should treat women the same as men. And that means if a woman is being a giant bitch and laughing
just look at Dankula's reaction to that. Like, just watch. You can see the expression on his face change, like when Sargon goes out into that line.
Difference in men in the way that we should treat them. Unlike the establishment, unlike our judges who literally say, if you were a man, I would send you to jail, I think we should treat women the same as men. And that means if a woman is being a giant bitch and laughing at male suicide, I'm going to be...
That face right there, that's the exact, like, right before that, like when his eyes just lighted up. Let me just go back a bit.
That means if a woman is being a giant bitch...
Right there, that's when he realized, oh shit. Silverstein's asking me to turn up the volume. Yeah, I'll do that. I didn't realize it was so low. But this face here, yeah, he realized, fuck, we don't know what we're doing. Why the fuck did we come out here? And he can't help but laugh at the whole situation, because I don't think Dankula, like, I don't think either one of these guys are taking this seriously at all. But I think Dankula's, I don't think Dankula is as invested as Sargon, so he can laugh at the situation. Sargon can only cry about it, try to make his Twitter bans or whatever, and we'll also go over some other activities that Sargon's been doing, because, like, if you've noticed, he hasn't been campaigning very much. That's because he doesn't have anything. We might also go, like, I might also play some of the interview with Sky News, but let me just finish this clip, because...
Male suicide, I'm going to be a giant dick back. Any questions?
So it's acceptable?
Yes!
No, this is not how you handle that. Like, he has a bunch of crowd there that's going to cheer him on and present him as this kind of hero, but the problem is, this is the same problem that he never learned about during the Gamergate days, when they're talking about, like, optics and all this other shit. Don't defend yourself against allegations of harassment, etc. You don't double down on this sort of thing. You ignore it, which is why I said just say no comment, or just, you know, give as little of a thing to say as possible. But instead, what he did, both back in 2014 and 2019 today, is he goes ahead and he tries to say, no, I'm not I'm not someone who laughs at rape. I'm not joking about that. I swear. I was totally trolling the media. Okay. My comments had nothing to do about the subject of rape. It was some 5D chess. All right. In fact, he even says that on his Facebook. Like right here, as you can see in this image first. Zoom in a little bit. Like he gives a statement, respond to BuzzFeed, saying that once again, BuzzFeed positioned themselves as the progressive joke police. I stand by David Baddiel's justification about why any subject can be the subject of a joke. The alternative is a world devoid of humor, the essential tool we use to reduce the horror of events that are beyond our control. And look at that. The comedian himself decided to respond to this. Interesting. I wonder what justification that might be. If it's this one, he hasn't read it very closely. And he goes into detail about, like, of course, we are all, like, now I don't fully agree with this, but he goes into detail about, the gist of it is, the gist of his point is that you can joke about anything, but it's all in the presentation, and that you have to do it in the correct way in order for it to be funny. The point that I would disagree with him on is that I don't think you need to worry about, like, what message it sends. The thing that you should be concerned with is whether or not it's funny. Like, I don't agree with this safe humor sort of thing. Like, if you can tell a funny joke. But then again, I think actually I will put a caveat on that. If you're gonna make a joke, and you plan on having any kind of political aspirations, you gotta make it clear. Like, you can't mix the two. You can't be the guy who says inappropriate humor and inappropriate words and sayings and stuff like that and run for office. At least not in the UK. Their culture is built on decorum. They still have that in them. That's why all the questions and all the stuff are about, actually, that's not the only reason why, but that's why they put so much of an emphasis on speech and proper speech at that. And Sargon doesn't get this. Despite being part of the UK, he doesn't even understand his own people. And you can't, and honestly, it's not unfair to ask him questions about his statements in the past, etc., like he wants to get out of constantly. He can't defend any of them. Also, when I said that he should say no comment, I didn't need for him to go ahead and tell things like in that interview on Sky News, which let me pull that up, because it's really telling, like, that Sargon just does not know how to address this at all. Like, he can't. Any of this, whether it be the rape comment, whether it be him, like, calling a disabled girl with Down syndrome or something, like, retarded. I don't know if she actually has Down syndrome, but like, he just, like, if you watch the clip, which, by the way, you can't watch it anymore because he deleted it. He says he stands by everything, but the thing about, like I think he did a video called, like, I forget what it was called. I think it may have actually been named after the movie Gay Niggers in Space. The title of his video that, and he made all kinds of offensive statements, etc. And he thought that it was like satire because he was making fun of these progressives, totally owning them by using racial insults and stuff like that. But the thing is, he doesn't realize that stuff stays forever. And yeah, he is completely clueless. Like, you cannot go from being this edgelord on the internet to going into politics. That's just not happening. It is not possible for someone to do that. I mean, like, the only exception I can think of is if you were as good as Trump. Like, if you can pull it off like Trump can, then yeah, you would have the ability to do it. In fact, it may just happen that there will be someone that does do that. But if, like, the thing is, Sargon is not as smart as he presents himself as. See, that's the thing that Spencer got wrong. Spencer said Sargon isn't as smart as he thinks he is. No, Sargon deep down inside, whether it's like when he's alone at night, laying down in his bed, about to go to sleep, he knows he's not smart. He knows when he's going to right before he closes his eyes, he's not at all smart. He's a pseudo-intellectual and doesn't know what he's talking about. He reminds himself as that on that level, right before he shuts his eyes because the only thing he was ever successful at was his YouTube career, and that wasn't even his doing. That was because of Gamergate, which he just latched onto and then amplified afterwards. Everything after that has been some way connected with that. with that turn of events. And it's still in the back of the mind. I mean, people accuse me of that, which, okay, fair enough. I'm not going to say I wasn't involved with that, but in his case, everything that he has done since then has been some way linked to it. Whether it was when he did his anti-social justice petition, which I think I have that in these tabs here. Not this one. Let's see. This one right here. Suspend social justice courses. Yeah, that's right. Our libertarian, free speech advocate. Everyone should go ahead and say whatever they want, study what they want, think what they want. He wanted to completely get rid of social justice courses, whatever the hell that means, out of universities. And he took the time to write this. This is like right after he decided to pull out of Gamergate, that he was done with it. He still wanted to fight the SJWs and beat them at their home base, which he defines as academia, which he's not inaccurate on. A lot of bullshit comes from the left out of academia, but this is just retarded. Social justice has become scientifically illiterate, logically unsound, deeply bigoted, and openly supremacist. Social justice professors are indoctrinating young people into a pseudoscientific cult behind closed doors that is doing damage to their health, education, and future. What's funny about this is that, like, everything he's saying about the social justice warriors here, it can be applied to himself, because I see people fiercely defending Sargon in every turn. No matter what he does, they go ahead and they back him up 100%. Like, you can see it in the types of videos that they make, in the types of comments that they leave, in the arguments that they have with people, in the ideologies they set up. And it takes a lot in order to get anyone that's conditioned into this cult-like mentality to break out of it. Now, granted, the people there are, a bunch of autists, but nonetheless, they're pretty much brainwashed. Social justice has become a victim of its own good intentions, and in the desperate attempt to make the world better for some, it is creating a world. Wait a minute, let me read this again. Social justice has become a victim of its own good intentions, and in the desperate attempt to make the world better for some, it is creating a world better for none. It has become another ideology fit only to pave the road to hell. So it is Sargon can't write. Like, he can't read. That's true. It's pretty much an established fact that he doesn't know how to read things. But he also cannot write, which is probably why he gets in all these many of these controversies. I mean, I don't even get why he bothered with any of this. This is one of the most I accuse if you read Breitbart UK, or if you have ever read Breitbart UK, I tend not to read Breitbart if I can help it. But if you've ever read any of their articles and stuff like that, you might notice that they put a bunch of flowery language in there and a lot of terms. I remember that Alum Bakari and Milo, or someone writing under the pseudonym Milo, he didn't actually write his own articles, write like this, but even those articles had more substance than this. Like, he's just talking about how it's scientifically literate, logically unsound, etc., which is like, and he's not giving any kinds of examples of this. He's not backing up his points or anything. He's just saying a bunch of stuff and talking about how bad and evil it is, using all this flowery language. But it's just like, anyone can say this about any group whatsoever. We just have the same level of substance. Just put a petition saying this should be banned. I mean, you can't. This is kindergarten levels of writing here. I don't know why, and no one, this is a case of where one of Carl's capos should have pulled him aside and said, look, Don, I know you want to make yourself relevant, but you need to put in a teensy bit more effort. You need to do more than just 3 or 4 tweets here. And look what he does here with the petition, this grand petition that everyone talked about for about a month. For more information, or actually, no, it didn't even last a month. I think it lasted maybe a week or 2 at most. For more information, visit, and he links his YouTube channel. Way to go there. Never missing an opportunity to give yourself publicity. Oh boy. Alternatively, read the What? Oh, that's closing remark. If you want information, read the comments section. This is the first time I've ever seen any kind of written piece say that if you want to find any sources or references to whatever the hell you're talking about, just read the petition. Just read the comments. That's ingenious. I mean, the closest I've seen to it is people promoting discussion like, what do you think? Post in the comments, which is absolutely fine. But this is just, alternatively, read the comments of this petition for more information. Does he post anything in the comments? View all reasons for signing. Oh man, let's see what. Just gonna take a look at this because it's also important to know people that follow this guy as well as the person that's just pushing this bullshit. Free fucking speech someone signed, which I don't think you realize the irony of this. Political correctness has gone too far. Yeah, you're right. Political correctness, saying you can only think and say and do certain things in a certain way. Let's ban it all. SJW is cancer. Just a great reason to sign the petition there. True equality and free speech for all. Quite frankly, social justice is holding America's education system back instead of focusing on receiving a practical education in a meaningful field that will advance humanity. Social justice teaches young adults to be an emotionally fragile, self-absorbed, bigoted morons who are focused on pretending to an oppression they have never experienced than they are to improving their lives. The evidence is clear from microaggressions to the debunked wage cap and campus rape statistics. See, this guy's a better writer than Sargon. I mean, this is still shit. This is a terribly constructed paragraph. It's like the very demanding sorts of tone that this is probably make a good ending to a larger piece, but here is just weak. But the thing that he gets right is he lists reasons why social justice is a problem. They're not very good reasons. They're not very compelling in my book. Although even if they are true, like microaggressions are retarded, the wage gap is a myth, and it can be easily demonstrated to be false. Campus rape statistics, that's a bit trickier. Campus rape statistics are often fudged as well. So, but again, it's not really a reason to ban all social justice courses. Because for one thing, like as other people pointed out, they're not well defined. Like what is a social justice course? And also, would it be based on like, the ideology of the speaker or whatever? He doesn't really state exactly what he means by that. That's another thing that was really a problem with this petition. The social sciences tend to be a little wonky at times, especially since a lot of academia has been corrupted. But again, this would be solved if he just defined his terms. Here's another one. This guy's gonna save the West by signing the petition. I'm signing this because Western society forgot how marvelous a life without problems and focused in progress is. What? Sign this because Western society forgot how marvelous a life without problems and focused in progress is. I don't even know what he means by that. I mean, does he expect people to be perfect? People apparently got bored and started inventing trouble that isn't even there to begin with. I am part of an ethnic minority. Oh, yep, gotta be against identity politics by playing that race card, as well as a millennial. And I think that the activist movement is the worst excuse for a new age fad ever. This last bit here, again said with no trace of irony, he's signing a petition that's advocating for a political change that would ban everyone of a certain ideological framework. This guy's a retard. All right, but that's enough of that. That's old news. What's that? Okay. Oh. David Sherratt pointed out something that, for once, was actually smart. Like, unironically so. David Sherratt being like this guy who apparently flirted with a bunch of conservative women, got rejected by all of them, started going to the social justice crowd, and apparently now they all think he's a creepy harasser. So, yeah, he's all around. He seems to be a spurg all around. But yeah, he's not wrong about this point. This is something that Sargon once tweeted out in response to a professor from academia saying, "Oh, making jokes about white genocide," or quote unquote jokes. Dear pro-white genocide professors in American universities, apologizing for jokes is what people do. If you don't, You're an asshole. Huh. That's real funny, Sargon. Like, you've repeatedly said that you would never apologize to Jesse Lee Phillips for saying that, for, making rape jokes at her expense. That's kind of weird, isn't it? You're saying this sort of shit. Like, it's just amazing. The other thing I wanted to look at in this situation is, what could Sargon possibly, do to fix this? What is he doing exactly right now? Well, if you look here, this is a side of Sargon that he doesn't want people on YouTube or Twitter to see, because it's a different audience. The Facebook is a bit of a different, more down-to-earth sort of group, because they like to share real-life information, and they don't like to, engage in just, I guess more sillier things. So of course it gets more personal, and he says, so of course his attitude here is written a lot more differently, and it shows a different aspect. I mean, look at this. But the thing I really wanted to highlight is what he's doing with his time is he's spending all this time making all these statements like this. 2 hours ago, he posted this rant about Jeremy Corbyn siding with Jesse Lee Phillips, which he complains about, like how he's an open socialist that has consistently shown support for terrorists and dictators around the world. I mean, I hear that Corbyn is like a lib shit. I don't know much else about his policies, but he's complaining about this, and there's a consistent theme going on. Here he shares a meme posted by Tim Pool about how everyone has become more centrist. Like, people have become more extreme by going toward further ends. Which this is an old meme, but of course we got to be centrist boys. No radicalization, no evil reactionary thoughts allowed. Great showing at Bridgewater today. Loads of support for UKIP here. Doesn't look like it. Looks like maybe got quick head count. Looks to be about 24 people. Yeah, big crowds, right? Look at all the people here. Great going, Sargon. You're a great politician. You're going to get that MEP status for sure. Polls certainly don't favor this sort of result. Here he's posted a YouTube video. This video is unavailable. Okay, that's weird. It's really weird. Why'd he delete this video? Really weird. Anyway. And here's him saying that joke is not Jesse Lee Phillips, but the media itself. Literally, the first comment on the video under the video is obvious bait. I can't wait to see them fall over each other to take it. Gotta own the libs, trigger the libs. Owning the libs is a way of life. You gotta do it 24/7 every day. Like, it's just so stupid. Like, how could he possibly say the joke is not Jesse Phillips when he previously said that the whole reason he made the joke was because she joked about male suicide? No discussion. Am I blocked? No, you're not blocked. Don't block people on YouTube. Down a bit. Again, he's constantly defending himself from about, his jokes he made 4 years ago. On like an everyday basis, all he's doing is just countering these attacks by the media against him. And he's not doing what he's complaining about the media won't do, which is ask him questions about policies, debate him on the points, the issues, that sort of thing. Instead, all he does is just, he's constantly wasting his time, like hours upon hours a day on Facebook, just constantly updating it himself. I mean, if he were serious about this, he'd get someone else to actually run his Facebook instead. Sargon is unlikable, and he destroys everything he attaches himself to. Yep, I agree. It's been a, like, Sargon's always been shit, like, since day one. Just didn't see it. Here he is spoiling the latest Avengers movie, and I guess I'm going to as well. Remember, if there's no UKIP candidate, you can always spoil your ballot. Good boy points for the most creative. Nothing illegal, of course. Let's take a look at YouTube channels. There's also something else I've noticed. Sargon. That would be the amount of videos he's made during this time. Censorship radicalizes people. That's a very big brain point there. He's like, Silicon Valley censorship season. Not a lot about the elections. Local man infuriates a British political establishment. Nothing to apologize for, Felix. Yeah, because not apologizing for shit really has been working out for you. The strategy of like always double down, always go ahead and say that you did nothing wrong, and let your ego ring. That's really worked for you, hasn't it? Carl Benjamin accuses MP uploads of like things he's done. I was denounced by the Chief Minister of Gibraltar. Hey, look at this guy. This guy seriously looked like someone who's going to be making decisions.
Fabian Picardo's denounced you.
Who's that?
The Chief Minister of Gibraltar.
Fabian, you Oxford-educated twat! Fabian!
Like, look at this buffoon. He's just going out and making videos of himself shouting about this dumb shit. Oh yes, I was denounced. I got declared to be a hateful person by this high-ranking official that people look up to and respect. I didn't get his endorsement. I got shunned by him. I'm going to celebrate this. What the hell's wrong with him? Like, why did Batten ever... What was Batten thinking? Why did he ever think this guy would be the one to go to in order to promote himself to office? Like, no wonder Farage left. I'd leave if that guy was running in charge as well. I don't think, like, seriously, just this says it all. Like, this guy is not someone who wants to run for office. This is not someone who wants to be a serious politician. He doesn't want to win. He just wants to boost his career. And another thing I noticed about this reminds me of is that during this, yeah, it's like, it's the whole thing that just reminds me of playing the victim, putting in the minimal effort, etc. Reminds me about the time he was on
there now,
it reminds me of the time when he decided to bring up the Gamergate 2 stuff, and while that's funny, it also puts in something into perspective about the way that Sargon carefully conducts himself with as much care, quote unquote, as the man can muster.
I'm doing it myself. This is how this works, and you can make this a remarkably efficient and effective thing if you have a kind of victim narrative, and if you have a particular group that is opposed to you politically, who you can demonstrate have interactions with you. It's very, very easy to get people already opposed to them to be sympathetic to your side, and with good reason. I mean, obviously, it's sensible that would be the case. Why wouldn't you want to find allies and stuff like that? And so I think that with a kind of combined effort of the internet, we could essentially craft a narrative, because you have to, to sell to people, you know, explain that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, that's a lot more fair about what happened in Gamergate. And I think that we can effectively get very important people to say that Gamergate did nothing wrong.
Yep. That was part of his plan to go ahead and get Trump to tweet out Gamergate. But again, it's not the Gamergate thing that's key there. What's key there is his talk about how you gotta use this tactic of playing the victim, of getting people to feel sympathetic for you. You gotta push it out there and make sure that everyone gets on your side, where there's a group of people out to get you. That's how Sargon has built his entire career. That's why whenever the media says anything negative of him whatsoever, they're all lying. They're all out to get and smear and get his reputation. They're all there to go ahead and destroy him, and they're part of the establishment that people are going to mute him, even if he says the dumbest shit. Which I've gone ahead and I've demonstrated that the guy has said some really disgusting shit when it comes to weird, creepy adult-child relationships, and the guy can't go, and the guy cannot, for the life of him, go for 2 seconds without humiliating himself. Like, he has to say that everyone's being overly mean to him, and he does this constantly. And this is the same guy that says that we should all be free speech advocates, that we should all go ahead and be able to say whatever we want without reprisal, etc. Anyway, aside from that, there's also another issue with that victim narrative, that this whole narrative that, you know, you can say whatever jokes you want, etc. I don't believe Sargon believes that for a second. I want to go back to that stream that he had. That I have. Okay, this one here.
So you already won.
Second. All right, so I just want to emphasize this again, because it's very important that, like, people tend to play the whole the white niggers comment a lot. That's always not funny. He's saying like something retarded, and it has bitten him in the ass. People have gone ahead and brought it up. Why do you think this is acceptable? Why is this such a problem for you? But again, the more I think about this, I don't think that was the biggest issue. I mean, yeah, like you could. I think the point should be made that he's clearly not making a joke there. He's just upset and angry, and his ego's gotten to him. But it's not that he's a racist. That's the issue. Or at least, like, that's not really the issue there.
It is the logical of the movement. You know, ultimately, they know that they're going to get there at some. The communists are absolutely well aware that at some point they would have to get the Soviet Union. They're completely aware of this. And they understand that that means that bad things will happen, but some of them unironically do it anyway. And I think that that's basically the same for the alt-right with Nazism.
Well, it's a good lesson, basically, because
that's true.
If you have that kind of movement decentralized, and someone goes in and says, "I'm religious
elsewhere," and like so many of the older institutions don't really understand the power of like
that. Those cultures can do their own thing, but I need to protect mine.
It's not that I want to emphasize it. King shouldn't have arbitrary power over the nation state. So if that's the definition of a civic nationalist,
to promote these values, basically.
If they don't share values that are compatible, then
actually positive and not look like complete idiots, then it having burned down, basically. It would be much more constructive if this worked out.
Let me timestamp for a moment. There was a point before he started to really go on his white niggers tirade that really got him. It really shows like the underpinnings of this guy.
Pretty basic, the definitional differences. So, I mean, go ahead.
All right, I'm just gonna look at a kind of looking at who would be a good speaker to join. I've actually Braving Rune was in the chat, so I'm going to ask him. Just hold up. I'm just going to kind of look.
All right, this is where it is.
For outright people, so you can kind of talk to the chat or something if you want, because I'll be.
Oh, I haven't got it up. Yeah. So what's your channel name again? Is it just Michelle Caitlin?
Yeah, it's, my YouTube channel is just Michelle Catlin, and my new I actually got suspended.
What's going on?
I actually got suspended on Twitter, so I have a new Twitter account called Catty Undying.
Chris Camel, yeah, get him on. He's an honest alt writer.
Right, and he should start.
See, look, this is what I mean about the chat. I just can't be bothered to deal with people who treat me like this. It's really annoying. Like, you are acting like a bunch of niggers, just so you know. You act like white niggers. Exactly how you describe.
Point before this, I believe. May have been, yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to play this for old time's sake. Give me a second.
Black people acting is the impression I get dealing with the alt-right. I'm just not in the mood to deal with this kind of disrespect. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, he's demanding respect. But yeah, to be honest with you, do you not think that, like, we should have a level of decorum in interpersonal interactions? And it's like, the internet is bullying me. I'm not saying you're bullying me. I'm saying there's just no point dealing with this kind of attitude. Is it?
Okay, so I was incorrect. It was actually after the white niggers comment, right after it. Yeah, this is the thing that gets me when he goes on about like how he's like, oh, I'm an expert comedian. I tell all these great jokes. I was just trolling Michelle Phillips, that sort of thing. He doesn't really believe in that. Like, this shows it. He demands people respect him and treat him with a level of decorum that's appropriate. Let's keep listening to this.
I know it's called trolling, but it's not like something I need to deal with if I don't want to have to deal with it. Upper class twat. Dude, I'm not an upper class twat. I come from fucking the most working class roots. At least my parents do. Jesus Christ. It's just like, you understand that I'm a person, don't you? You know, you guys understand that I am a person. And look, yeah, you like, sorry, Nisakis, how dare I hurt sensitive feelings. Look, you carry on, but don't expect me to then have a debate with one of your faggots. Why would I bother? Like, why would I bother? You act like an upper-class type now. Maybe you're just acting like a nigger, mate. Have you considered that? Do you think white people act like this? White people are meant to be polite and respectful to one another, and you guys can't even act like white people. It's really, like, amazing to me. It's genuinely amazing to me.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. This part definitely has to get clipped.
And indeed it did. A lot. And yeah, like the takeaway is, okay, so you heard it there. You heard like the context of this, where the host is going ahead trying to get someone to like debate Sargon to, like, you know, kind of counter some of his points. Someone who's more of an alt-right persuasion as opposed to like whatever the hell radical trans capitalism is. And while he's doing that, he says, "Oh, just interact with the chat a bit." And he looks at the chat, and then he gets really upset. He gets mad. You can hear it in his voice. He's sad. His feelings are hurt, and he goes ahead and says, "Please, I'm a person. Treat me appropriately. I'm not acting like Nidia Sarkeesian. Why don't you go fuck off?" And then he says all kinds of other shit, and it's because he can't handle it. He just can't. In fact, let's listen for a little bit more, because there's more to this.
I'm sure it will, and I really don't care if you don't agree to these standards. And that's the end of it. I mean, like, I'm sorry for having standards that the alt-right doesn't meet.
I'm sorry for having standards that the alt-right doesn't meet. I mean, it just blows my mind. This is the same guy going around saying that comedy is sacred, that I should get a pass on my comments and statements to an MP that I'll probably be working with in the future. Should I get elected? I should be given a pass on all these other various comments I've said, whatever, because I want to talk about the points, the issues, and at the same time, I want people to find out about what I believe on the issues by going to my YouTube channel, which don't quote me from there. Don't you dare bring it up in an interview because that's mean. Like the same guy is saying that like everyone else just take a shit, and then when people give a little bit back to him, he says, "Oh, the Coral, treat me as a person. You can't possibly impose standards upon me."
Okay. Well, my suggestion to talk with the chat was definitely an interesting one.
Well, it's not just the chat; it's just the alt-right in general. I just don't really care. They don't care that the SJWs are ruining everything. They don't care. I mean, do they spend any time criticizing the SJWs?
I mean, they do.
Where do they do it?
I mean, they constantly talk about.
Oh, it's the entirety of the alt-right. The alt-right is just mean to me. I can't possibly engage with them. They're too evil and nasty. It's funny how he's willing to pull the same shit that the media pulls against him when it's convenient for him. It's amazing to me.
The problems with
go and bother like Mike.com's comment section or something. You know, they are actually getting millions of views, but the thing is, they just ignore you, which is why you don't, because you're just attention seekers. It's not about like actually doing any good. It's about getting attention. And
this guy is complaining that other people are trying to get attention on the internet. This guy who starts petitions where the only point of it seems to be to link to his YouTube channel and runs a candidacy where he says, in fact, let me find that other clip, that other thing. Because there was also another quote actually it was from here, where he said that, let's see. Actually, I do remember he said it. A sec. Right on the post. That, I'll sec.
For Channel 4. I don't care what you say.
Framed for having taught his dog. Now, I'll tell you what, chaps, let me do something. Now, if you go to the European Parliament,
YouTube.
You're running as an MEP for UKIP. Carl, you go ahead.
Because you guys are severely mismanaging the country. I mean, really, I'm just here to kind of mock the legacy media. Your numbers are going down every day, and our numbers are going up, right? Like combined, the YouTubers are getting like 30 million views a month. You're dying. And it's because do you know what your rating is on Trustpilot, business review site? 84% 1 star for the BBC, 59% 1 star for ITV, and
you hear it right there. He's only there to troll the media. He's only there to like call them out as a bunch of I guess his favorite term is smear merchants, which, great choice of words there. I'm pretty sure that won't come back to bite you later. Ah, man. Like, and yeah, someone said in the chat say he's a fraud. Yeah, he is. Like every single position you can find him being hypocritical on. It's kind of like it's kind of like the same thing as Milo did, except no, well, I don't know. I mean, I'll leave that up to you guys. Who would be worse, Milo or Sargon? I really couldn't be able to choose. Honestly, I might have to pick Milo on that one, but it's really a tough call. But regardless, the guy does not. Guy's just, he's retarded, and his stupidity is finally caught up with him because it's like, hang on a minute. So let me get that other thing. I thought I had it here, but second. Patrick in the chat says, I'd honestly have to go with Milo. I can't stand how smug Sargon is. Yeah, like I can see why I would say that. And yeah, I cannot stand the smugness of Sargon either. That is another thing about him. I will say about the two of them, while I can't determine which one is necessarily worse, I do know for sure that Sargon is more insufferable. That is true. Milo is smarter. That says a lot about life. Yeah, it does, unfortunately. And Patrick says, I read that backwards, LOL, so yeah, go with Milo. Also, I'm going to catch up with some other comments in the chat because I haven't been reading a lot of them. Sec. Dankula Face says, oof. Yeah. Yeah, it was just something I noticed when watching over that again. Wanted to go to jail for 800 pounds. Son says he's being investigated by the police over that Yi interview. Apparently, the police were given a dossier, which had a bunch of comments that Sargon said. I'm pretty sure that the DMs, the big one where Sargon DM'd some random person asking for child porn, I'm certain that was probably false. I'm pretty sure that was a troll that someone came up with, and that's actually just some slander against the guy, which is funny because a lot of times when people attack Sargon, they're absolutely right, and then Sargon lies and says it's false. But in that particular case, no, Sargon was being libeled in that case with that particular DM exchange. He did say some other weird and creepy child sex shit with both Amos Yee and Justicar. His principle isn't wrong. It's the delivery. Depends on the fuck political correctness and my feels. Yeah, political correctness is cancer. I agree with that. Second, please. And also, the other thing being that, give me a quick second. I'll be right back. Let's do some real. Okay. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, we're back. Okay, so all right, I'll read the rest of the comments at the end because I want to get through the rest of the stream. Okay, so where was I? Damn, I lost the train of thought completely. But yeah, I just wanted to go over just the significance of the loss that they faced. Now it seems some other parties did worse than others. Like the Conservative Party lost a lot. That's probably due to Theresa May's overall disapproval that everyone just seems not to like her. And yeah, like they lost a lot, but I'm not here really to talk about the entire. I'm mostly here just to talk about Sargon. I thought that was interesting to note, though, if anyone's following with that. I don't really see like a need to go into this. Also, Labor lost some. The Liberal Democrat Party gained some, a lot, significantly. Green Party, whatever that is, also gained some. But the UKIP party, the one that Sargon's a part of, the one that where he just successfully pretty much demolished, yeah, he lost 145 seats, and they're down to 31, the local elections. That's a significant loss for them. I don't see them recovering from this. I don't see them winning any MEP seats, frankly. I see them losing them all, and the UKIP party having no relevance. So yeah, this is not a good look at all. In fact, not only is it not a good look, this is a devastating blow and a loss. All right. Aside from that, I know there's some other okay. So aside from that, there's also some other things I want to touch on. But I wasn't really planning on a long stream tonight, so well, I'll save them for the next one. I'm not sure if there will be one tomorrow. I've done one every single day this week. And I might need a break. Not sure though. I'll try to get one out tomorrow. And yeah, I definitely do need to talk about sticks, as I've been threatening to do that for a while now. Kind of a theme with the show where I seem to have ideas and then I get to it like maybe a week or so later. That's kind of the thing. All right, so I still see there's a debate between who's worse, Milo or Sargon. Milo's a tryhard with his gay, interracial obsession and lavish lifestyle to try and head off the media attacks and amounted to bankruptcy. Yep, that is true. I heard a Meatloaf lyric that surprisingly stands up today. I know that I will never be politically correct, and I don't give a damn about your lack of etiquette. That's not bad. Milo was at least a second. Okay. Sorry about that. I was at least funny with his commentary. Seth, that's part of Sargon's problems. He's not funny. All right. Scroll up because there was also some other comments I want to read. I didn't get a chance to get to. Okay. There's a UKIP whistleblower out there that had more dirt. I can't say if it's any publicly. I don't know if it can get worse in the child. When it depends on the child comments and like be an injustice if like Milo's rapist was brought before a court and tried. I don't know if it gets worse than that. It kind of, I don't think you can. Or the comment where he said that, oh well, there's a case where a judge ruled that a 13-year-old girl was the predator in a child sex abuse case, and to an adult, and that all the feminists were freaking out over that. I don't know if it gets worse than those comments, but I don't know. Sargon could surprise us. So, it's like Nash Jones. I'm not familiar with that reference. Bulls, everything was on the kill stream. It's still there. Yeah. That's the thing. Sargon pretty much just laid out his cards about what he's been doing since I'm gonna say at least 2014 or arguably 2015. He's always been, actually, yeah, ever since the beginning, Sargon's always done the victim thing. I mean, hell, you go back to the video he made against Lacey Green. Said that it's a fucking feminist, when he shouted at the top of his lungs, it's a fucking feminist system. Like, he made the case that like incels were being created by feminists, which, I mean, I guess you could make like a roundabout argument about that, but reality is, like, things that he was accusing Lacey Green of that video, like saying that, oh, you don't care about the victims, you it's for your own gain, tragedy that happened, or your own ideology or whatever. Yeah, that sort of thing was exactly what. It's exactly the same thing Sargon did with that response. BuzzFeed's watched the clips from Ralph to Sargon. Fuck them too. Well, honestly, I don't really care at this point. Like, BuzzFeed wants to like rip apart Sargon or not. I will say that some of it is like, yeah, you'd be correct. They're not doing it because they want to give you the inside scoop about the guy. They have an agenda, but at the end of the day, I kind of can't really care about them, out making fun of and bullying Sargon. creation of the Brexit fraction and the Farage kind of said it all. Yeah, that was part of the. I think that's like honestly, I'd put it into honestly, Sargon would be the final death nail. There would probably be a couple others beforehand. The first one was honestly was probably the leadership just decided to leave the party. Like Farage quitting the party to go retire. I don't think he should have done that. Wanted what he wanted. He should have kept going. That was the first thing, and a couple of other people left at the same time. So that wasn't a very good thing. And then the other thing that hurt the party was The other thing that hurt the party was Tommy Robinson getting a place in there, which caused Farage to leave. And before that, of course, they recruited the recruitment of guys like Count Dankula and Sargon in the first place. Yeah, that was part of the problem. Greyjoy asks, disagree with the message or the man? I disagree with like 99% of what Sargon has to say, and I think his character is shit, so I'd have to say both. Does Sargon fuck everything up because he hates himself or because he is that inept? Bit of column A, bit of column B, perhaps, but if I had to choose one of the two, I would say it's ineptitude. Probably a bit of self-hatred there. All or at least most degenerates do hate themselves, and we know Sargon's one because he flirts with grannies. Seth says response to Greyjoy. No, but neither is Sargon. I'm not saying he isn't useful, just that he cares about himself than the UK. I don't know, I'm not really part of any movements or anything like that at this point. I don't think politics is really the answer to the problems of today, or at least not the political strategy of running for office and trying to affect change using the current system. I think that idea has been shown not to work over and over again, and I think that a reset has to occur in order to get to a state that you want. If you want something different than the current liberal democratic model we have today, you're going to have to wait for the whole thing to collapse. And that probably means you won't get to see that in your lifetime. So I don't see any YouTubers or any politicians at this point being particularly useful as far as any movements go, because I just don't think it's going to succeed in that manner. And I'd like to emphasize again, no way should that be misconstrued as wanting a revolution or anything like that, because that's the only thing more retarded than trying to lead a movement at this point, in my opinion. Not one Tory or Labour fag says boo about illegal Muslims or jihadis on Market Square. Protected persons is an issue in UK. #facts. Yeah, radical Islam is an issue. However, I think the issue that Farage is having now is that the stance against radical Islam has turned into, oh well, let's have no immigration and no Muslims, which, yeah, that's also retarded. Oh, I see the Plate Gang left a comment. 22 viewers. Wow, Cryberry B. Kelly. Those are some big boy numbers right there. I don't care about the numbers. If there's one person watching, I'll still do the stream. Seth says, England needs a yellow vest movement. Anything is going to change. No political solution as Brexit has proven. Have the yellow vests accomplished anything? It's been a year at this point, or how long has it been? 6 months? 8 months? What have they done besides giving them yet another boogeyman to attack? I don't see the yellow vests accomplishing much. I see them running around in circles and getting attention, but what is it leading to? Does anyone know? A needs a cogbot army? Possibly. I listened to this stream live, referring to Sargon stream with Caitlin times. Yeah, that I listened to it live as well. That's how I know that his claim that, it was a bunch of alt-righters, it was a bunch of Nazis in the chat, is false, because the criticisms they were bringing up had nothing to do with the white race, or very few of them did. and he's full of shit as usual. Amazing how courteous this discussion was until Sargon read chat and smirked out. Yep. You're acting like a white nicka, mate. Miserable, pretty much. I need a moment. Yep, he's a real human being. It. Horse says someone's a rapist. Sargon raped my iguana. Someone should tell the news media about that. That sounds horrible. Sargon's into bestiality, allegedly, according to wearing purple costume. Something needs to be done about that. Sargon wants to be an upper class twat. You can hear his voice, lol. Much. It. Carl, the Earl of Applebee's Benjamin. I'm a real human being and intellectual. I told him I wouldn't rape her. He's a smart guy. Smartest. He should be in universities giving lectures. That's how smart he is. That'll probably be his next. You know what? That'll probably be his next chick. Either after he loses the UKIP elections, he'll probably say something like, "The media smeared and slandered me. That's why I lost." And he'll say, "I'm going to go to universities to help others how to do things where I failed." I mean, good luck with that if he does that. He's also disingenuous twat because he chose to run for a parliament seat, which he will have zero influence or power. He just wants to fill his pockets. Yeah, it's all about the money for him at the end of the day. Greed is primary motivator and all these things is what it leads back to. Like, oh, I want to do this for, he's a big free speech advocate, but then makes a video saying that he will have to be careful, and that he means he'll censor the chat or like making comments that are anti-Islamic. Like, yeah, he made a video about this once. I'm surprised it's not being played now. Like, he did the attack the chat, or it was cool. Or Andy and Alaska decided that would be and Tonka Saw decided to be a good idea. Once the memes turn on him, he can't handle it, so he lashes out. He pretends he's the only one fighting the culture war. Much. Anyone who runs for MEP is traitor by default. I don't think I agree with that, because I don't think that the European nations are going to lead realistically. So I don't think they're necessarily a traitor because they run for the European. I do think that like Sargon should be regarded as a traitor, absolutely. He's ruined a lot of good things, so that part's true. Seth prefers Sargon to Milo, or no, Sargon says that Sargon is worse than Milo, I should say. Yeah. So. King Europe says America trying to understand UK politics. Wait, I missed some. Okay. All right. Silverstein says I was muted. How long have I been muted? Because if I've been muted for like the past 20 minutes, I have really screwed up. All right, so King Europe has left a bunch of comments in the chat that are defending Sargon. Sorry, John, but Americans trying to understand British politics is fucking cringe. Local politics has nothing to do with Parliament elections Sargon is in. Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that the reason that everyone's voting against UKIP is because Sargon's a member there. Like, that's the thing that the media is focusing on when it comes to Sargon, his association with the party. And if you want to say, well, it's not just Sargon, okay, association with Sargon, Tommy Robinson, Count Dankula, and others who have just made dumb statements defending these radicals that they're trying to put, the quote unquote radicals. They're not actually radical in anything they say. But these people that are saying all these edgy shit that just doesn't amount to anything, and people have legitimate gripes with them. American trying to understand UK politics. UKIP's downfall was because they're building themselves as a post party. anti-Islam, anti-immigration. Yeah, but that wasn't the original point of the party. The original point of the party was to, like, break the whole that we have to abide by this European kind of oligarchy of not oligarchy, my mistake. This European conglomerate of nations that has to, like, get order and have its foreign policy dictated in such a fashion. When it comes to things, and the weird thing is that, like, it's like they retained already their own immigration policy. So, like, all the Muslims coming in, all the it's all the Muslims coming in was due to UK's own policies internally. Like, they specifically moved themselves from the immigration policy so they wouldn't have to worry about that. Like, there could be an argument made that EU like affect that in the future, but I mean, at present, that was not the case. Meanwhile, Brexit Party are civic are I don't know this word savant single issue Civnat civic nationalist single issue. So obviously they're more successful, but they have no future beyond Brexit. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily a problem because honestly, I don't see UKIP having a future. I see UKIP as dead. I don't see it really recovering. I see it beyond repair at this point. So as far as not having a future goes, if Brexit's dead, so is UKIP is deader than dead. And almost getting Marcon's resignation, but the carbon tax is an accomplishment. Oh, referring to the yellow vests. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They did get the carbon tax repealed. I'll give them that. Okay, let me get this straight. As opposed, I'm not pro Sargon. I'm just a UKIP member of 10 years and actually understand politics, as opposed to some 56%er who thinks British politics is some YouTuber. You don't know what you're talking about, John. If you don't know what the is, you don't know what the UKIP is, you don't know what Sargon's relationship. Okay, all right. What's the thing I'm not getting here? Like, what's the thing that I'm saying that's incorrect? Go ahead. Also, if you'd like to, like, come on air and talk it over on air, you can do that as well. Or if you just prefer to type out in chat, I'll read it off. Way is fine with me. Carlos says people are voting against anything. I think people are worried about political correctness are probably a minority, but the ones that worry about immigration number two. So, the way I don't think other parties are solutions. Where the equivalent of some Brits saying Democrats are dead, they're over, dead forever. I'll come on air. All right, that's fair enough. Like, this is just what I've seen as far as the current situation with UKIP party, and if I'm wrong about it, I'm wrong about it. All right. So, I see you in the Discord. Second, you should be able to just join Wildlands VC. Just join there. Let me figure Discord out. One sec. Sure. Just click on the voice channel. It's called Wildlands VC. I'm a dumb boomer. All right, we'll wait. Yeah, but as far as I can tell, the big thing that has been going on in the media, the thing that's in all the news, that's in all the television programs, and is in all the papers, all the online outlets, etc. The thing that's on everyone's mind is Sargon, Count Dankula, Tommy Robinson saying and doing dumb things that are unprofessional and reflect poorly in their character. That's the thing that is the issue. So, how the fuck did Lib Dems own this election as a scam? Possibly. I don't. If it could possibly be always a case of election tampering. I see some evidence of that. And Sargon just made the UKIP party impossible to elect, thus making it impossible for to enact any solution. That's what it seems like, so. All right, I see you say. Okay, give me a second. All right, I'm gonna get King Europe in here. I'm gonna move. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, I'm very, very drunk, so I'll try not to be a complete arse. But I mean, UKIP it's always existed before Sargon. It will exist after Sargon. It's very frustrating to see people like really overstate Sargon's involvement. He's just an MEP candidate of about 70, and it's he's one man in a party much bigger than him. So it's people like saying that he's killing the party. He's one man. He's one man in a big party. So it's.
So you would say, would it be incorrect to call him even a final death nail? You're saying that it will still exist after this election season?
Oh, of course, yeah. So what UKIP is doing is it's trying to forge a path beyond the European Union. So obviously the UK will hopefully leave the European Union at some point, right? That's assured. The Brexit Party will not exist beyond that because it's the Brexit Party. It is solely the Brexit Party, and it is only the Brexit Party. Now, the vast majority of the members of the Brexit Party, the vast majority of the MEPs of the Brexit Party were former UKIP. And UKIP's point of view is, okay, so we've lost a lot of MEPs to the Brexit Party who will die when we leave the EU. So we need a post-EU UKIP. So UKIP have said, okay, we're going to be anti-Islam, we're going to be anti-immigration, we're going to be, we're going to be carefully, not civic nationalist, but we're going to be, nationalist, wink, wink, and all that. And that means that they're not going to be as popular as they used to be, when they were just a civic nationalist, purely Brexit party. But they forged a path of which, makes them less popular, but gives them a future outside Brexit. That's all it is. That is literally all it is. So it's like to say that Sargon is ruining UKIP. It's a bit desperate. Sargon is not that important. He's really not that important in UKIP.
I mean, I think
he's not killing it. It's
Sargon of Akkad than they are UKIP. Maybe in the UK it's different. That could be just like a global perspective, which a lot of people factor in. A lot of Sargon's audience is not located in the UK. They're actually located around the world, which is why I'm still wondering why they decided to recruit. I say he's not the death knell. He's definitely a with negative press they're getting about him. And you're saying that
UKIP.
And there's a couple of other points I want to point out. UKIP has been on the decline since probably before Brexit, actually, but even after Brexit.
Oh yeah, it's okay. So there was a gentleman called Harry Bolton who took over Nigel Farage, and he was very much civic nationalist. He was very much like a complete cuck. If you just imagine a complete cuck in your mind, that was Harry Bolton, and he took UKIP. He lost half of UKIP's members. Half of UKIP's members fucked off. He destroyed UKIP. He took UKIP to the brink of bankruptcy in half a year, and Gerard Batten took over from Harry Bolton and brought that back to UKIP, back to sovereigns. Back to from the brink of bankruptcy to actually being having money. And back to the membership that Harry Bolton lost, and Gerard Batten was like, okay, we're going to be anti-Islam, we're going to be anti-immigration, we're going to have a we're going to have a bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, ethno-nationalist vibe, and he took UKIP back from the brink of death about 2 years ago to actually being a viable party yet again. And part of what Gerard Batten did was, okay, let's bring in some YouTube memers into 2, irrelevant shortlists because they've got 500,000, 1 million YouTube subscribers. Fuck it, let's Nigel Farage is gone. Let's bring some influencers. Fuck it, we'll put them in some nominal positions that they won't win, and let's get some publicity. To say that Sargon is killing UKIP is giving Sargon so much benefit, so much power that he doesn't literally have.
How do you explain is the better explanation for how they just got decimated in this elections, down to 30 seats.
It's local elections. You're talking about local elections. Local elections are about bins being collected. They're about they're about hyper local issues. Now, UKIP have never really fought local elections with any care or anything. UKIP do not pay their local candidates. It's all voluntary. It's all, I could have been a local councillor for UKIP. It's literally, have you been a member for a year? And a member, if you want to be a UKIP member, it costs £15. So if you want to be a local candidate, 15 quid, they'll give it to you.
Okay, so your explanation.
UKIP do not fight local elections. It's just a thing that they do as a matter of course, as a thing that they do as a national party. They don't care about local elections. They care about national elections. They care about MAP elections. Local elections, it's not even it's a nothing. They never really fought them. They don't really care about them. It's a nice thing to have. It's a vanity project. They didn't really fight. So it's
okay. So it's in no way indicative of what future elections will vote. I mean, rating has been down according as well.
It's been up in 18 to 25, which UKIP is the second biggest party in the UK with the 18 to 25 demographic, bigger than Conservatives, Lib Dems, the Greens. It's Labour as the first and UKIP as the second with the 18 to 25 demographic. That's solely because of some dumb, shitty Scottish meme lord who isn't funny and some cunt from Swindon who isn't funny either. It's solely because of those two people that have made UKIP the second biggest. So it's 18 to 25 matters because they're the future boomers that will vote for the party. They're the future boomers that fund it. So it's every party works so desperately to try and capture a youth wing, and those two people alone have captured a youth wing that the Lib Dems, as a established party of 30 years in UK politics, would only dream of. As the Greens, of an established party in UK politics for 70, 80 years, would only dream of. It's as shitty as Sargon is, and don't get me wrong, Sargon is a shit. He's shit. He is a shit candidate. He is shite, and so is that Count Dankler. He's just shit as well. He's some call centre wanker who doesn't really care about politics and just stands there and just memes a bit, right? But both of them have done way more than UKIP in UKIP. They have actually damaged them. I get they're two shitty people, or one of them is a shitty person. The other one's okay, but in the grand scheme of things, it's been a working strategy for UKIP. So,
I mean, maybe there has been some increase in the 18 to 25 demographic, but is it significant? I see him at places and he's claiming a big crowd there when there's only 24 people. When he went to
that's UK politics. That's literally UK. You've literally just described UK politics. It's the second biggest demographic. It's the second biggest party amongst 18 to 25-year-olds, and that will literally mean about 20 people in a crowd. You've described UK politics. No one gives a shit. No one cares. But it's that, and that's what it is. And it's going to do good. Sargon will not win his seat. He will not win his seat at all. He's second on the shortlist, and UKIP will not get that. But he has increased the UKIP voter share nationally in the UK elections probably by 250,000. Probably about like 250,000 as a conservative estimate. Like, that's a win for UKIP, even if Sargon doesn't win his seat. So it's like, it's all a bit of a nothing, really. So I get that it's really, really, people really, really want to hate Sargon, and I get it because Sargon is a shit. He's not. He's shit in public. He's shit on policy. He's just a shit. I get that. I agree with that. But he is still a win for UKIP. So it's kind of like, you can't really criticise him. You can't say that he's on death knell for UKIP. He's kind of a good thing for them.
I'm not seeing having him MEP being a good thing. Like, I mean,
he's not going to be an MEP. He will lose the election. He's second on the list, so he will lose it.
Like, I should clarify that. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to win it. But
do you know who's first on the list? Do you know who's first on the list for excuse me. Do you know who's first on the list for West of England in UKIP? You don't. You don't. You know who's second on the list? It's Sargon of Akkad. It's Applebee's. It's Sargon of Applebee's. It's you know who's second on the list for West of England in UKIP's EU parliamentary shortlist. You don't know who's first on it, which says everything that you need to know. You know who the second candidate is. That kind of shows that Sargon is kind of winning in this. Don't get me wrong, he's shit, but he's doing something right here that that he exists, which in EU parliamentary elections is huge.
I don't.
It's massive.
I mean, maybe my knowledge in UK politics is a bit lacking, but like having more people counter protest your incumbent entrance to a place and having far less supporters and like embarrassing yourself in front of the media like he's doing, I don't really see that as being like a net benefit.
Would you say? Okay, so the only MEP that 90% of British people can actually name is Nigel Farage. Okay, and Sargon of Akkad is kind of like getting in that level of like an MEP candidate that people can actually name. So, right, so Nigel Farage, he was in the media as a racist, as an Islamophobe, as every literal ism, right? But that doesn't mean he's a bad thing. He was a great thing for the UKIP. It's a big loss that he's left. But it's someone being in the media because he said a bad word, because he said the N word or whatever. That's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? Is it really? If there was a candidate,
that's what you're getting at.
Exactly. So like, if fucking Richard Spencer was, a candidate for the Republican Party in some fucking bumfuck state in West Virginia or whatever, like, would you really say, like, if Richard Spencer was close to winning his seat but didn't in the Senate, would you say that Richard Spencer really failed? If he got like, let's say Richard Spencer.
If Richard Spencer or anyone runs for office and they get this big name recognition, but they fail and are ultimately loser, then yeah, they're definitely a detriment to them. Like, you can't say they're a net benefit. I mean, like, if you want to go at, like, I'm not going to argue with you that, like, like it being dead is an overstatement. Maybe I am incorrect about that. Maybe it's not as bad as it looks. I mean, it looks pretty bad. Like, they lost all these seats that they had before, which they successfully campaigned on, and now this year they lose them all in this election where
it's locals. It's locals. So it's local elections. So they're all volunteers. Again, UKIP aren't really a local party. They don't really care. Local elections are about like bins being collected and houses being built and shit like that. And UKIP don't care. It's complete. I could have been a UKIP councillor.
So
it's purely a voluntary position.
So
they don't care.
Local elections, it's more to do like governing the small, okay, so
It's about bullshit. Yeah, it's about small, very very local issues. It's if you want to be a local councillor in the UK, you don't get paid for it. It's a purely voluntary position. To be a local councillor, you can get about £2,000 a year for about 20 hours of your time a week. It's purely voluntary, and you get some like shekels as a thank you, but it's not really worth it. No one goes into local politics for money, as opposed to EU politics where you get 80 grand a year. It's actually like a viable career. So local politics, no one really cares. No one really cares. If you lose in local politics, it's a bit of a shrug. It's really shrug worthy. So UKIP's loss in local politics is just it's the fact that they didn't really put many people towards it.
The
so
decline
it's
that happened ever since Brexit. You said there was an upswing, but like how many? But aren't they down to like less than like don't they have like maybe one MP left at this point? Like very MEPs.
They have they don't have any MPs, but they have 4 MEPs now. Most of the MEPs in UKIP left before Jared Batten. When Jared Batten took UKIP, okay. So we had a leader called Harry Bolton. Now Harry Bolton was a complete Civinat cuck. He was a total cuck. He led the party to from a point where they were about 500,000 in the green to nearly in bankruptcy. And about like the vast majority of UKIP MEPs left under Harry Bolton. Gerard Batten took UKIP, and he said, "Okay, well, UKIP will be an anti-Islam, anti-immigration. We'll have a we'll have a policy beyond EU, and that means that people will leave UKIP because they'll say, I want a mosque in my local area. Thank you very much. So I will leave UKIP." There will be like people leaving UKIP because they're cucks. That's not like that's not an argument against UKIP.
Thing is, the reason that Farage left UKIP, he was very clear about it. He didn't want anyone part of EDL and the BNP, those two parties. They were the BNP had a policy where you couldn't get in unless you were a certain skin color. Like, I mean, we can
It's okay. So that's not UKIP still have a policy where if you were a member of the BNP or EDL, you can't be a member of UKIP. That's still a policy. Now, Tommy Robinson, he was vindicated. He was right, by the way. Tommy Robinson, the big scandal with Tommy Robinson is he said that that Muslim rape gangs exist. That was his big scandal, and people called him, "Oh, that's so racist. That's so Islamophobic." That was awful. Tommy Robinson, you're an Islamophobe for even implying that. He was fucking right. He was correct. He was right. So this Boeing engineer, Tommy Robinson, masters in engineering, Tommy Robinson was right. He was correct. He was vindicated. But he can't be a UKIP member because he was a member of EDL. He's still not a UKIP member. He's a personal advisor to Gerard Batten. There's a problem with what you're saying here. There's actually a few problems. Nigel Farage is a cuck. Okay, so Nigel Farage is a cuck, and he doesn't like that Tommy Robinson has an association with UKIP because he was right about Muslim rape gangs. So what?
How was he right about Muslim rape gangs? Did he expose them, or did he make?
Yeah, he literally exposed them. He exposed Muslim rape gangs 10 years before it was in mainstream news. He was saying Muslim rape gangs exist. They prey on white working class girls. And people called him a racist for that. And he was vindicated. He was right. He was correct. 10 years later, he was fucking right. And his reputation was fucking smeared and dragged through the mud. And he was fucking correct.
There's a couple of issues.
Not a single lie.
Just because you make some vague prediction there's Muslim rape gangs, that doesn't mean you did anything to help expose it. That just means you called something that incidentally happened to be true. I don't really see that as being a big...
He lived in Luton. I lived in Luton. It was the biggest open secret, and he was the person that had the fucking balls to say, yes, this exists.
So he's right about that one thing, but there's some other parts about that you're leaving. Like, it's not just one scandal this guy's gone through. Like, if it was just that, yeah, he'd be a hero. But that's not the reason why Tommy Robinson has his baggage behind him.
That is the one. That is the one. Okay, so are you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that his fucking mortgage application, his like mismortgage filing, is a scandal? Please, are you going to tell me that him telling some like muskrat cockroach cunt who raped children that he was a like muskrat cockroach, like him telling some cunt in court that he was a rapist is like that's somehow an indictment on Tommy Robinson?
No,
please,
that's not what I was
like Tommy Robinson. What has Tommy Robinson actually done wrong?
It's one that you looked like he wasn't just like the founder of the EDL, which is a very extremist organization, if it's all right. But the even more extremist organization was the BNP, which, as I mentioned before, had a policy that if you weren't of a certain skin color, you weren't allowed in. And Tommy Robinson's defense, I'm not done yet.
He was never a member of the BNP.
Yes,
he was never. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Like
the British National Party. He was a member of the British National Party for a year. Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, you can look it up.
The Boeing engineer Tommy Robinson was.
Like, why are you surprised by this? Like, I've read his article. Like, it said that right there. He was there for like 2004, 2005, or somewhere like that.
Okay.
The point being.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I see that. I see that. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Considered like the Nazis, or Nazis rather. They wouldn't be actual Nazis. They would be the neo-Nazis of Britain. So like, that's not like. Look, you can say that's not fair. That like, oh well, someone was a member of this group, but
they weren't.
That's never going to fly in politics ever in the modern day in this era. Like, you're not going to have a guy who's known to be part of this group organization. Like, suddenly, oh, well, that was just part of the past, guys. Like, yeah, I know he's part of the neo-Nazi movement, and, like, you know, he was part of that, but he didn't know. He was just there for a year. He didn't know any of their ways. He was just naive.
Well,
like, that doesn't really add up. Like, I don't see that.
The British National Party, are not neo-Nazis. They were the ones that were They whistleblowed on Muslim rape gangs before anybody else. I don't really like.
I mean,
again,
it's blow the whistle on this. I thought that
you're falling into a trap that anybody that isn't of Civ Nat is a like massive racist. Not really. Now, I've got issues with the British National Party, and I'm quite glad that they're dead, pretty much dead at this point. But you know, someone being a British National Party member for 1 year, 10 years ago. That's three shrugs for me, mate. I don't really care. Like 10 years ago, 1 year ago, like
the average person's gonna look at that and say, "Yeah, that guy. No, he shouldn't be elected to office. He shouldn't be in the position of."
No, they won't.
No, they won't, because most people aren't racist. Sorry, it's just the fact. That's the way of life. Like.
So, like, I'm sorry. Caring about Muslim rape gangs makes you racist. Really, he's a Boeing engineer. Who was he was a member of the BNP for 1 year, 10 years ago.
I was just a Nazi for 1 year. I was just a phase, guys. Right. Vote for me.
He's a Nazi. He's not really a Nazi.
I mean literally a Nazi.
A Nazi.
Like again, I always say again, you're misconstruing what I said there. Like, it doesn't work that way. And also, like, you're leaving out the other scandals he got himself into. Like, when it came to like quote unquote expose these Muslim rape gangs. Didn't he, like, you know, after, like, the Rotham child rape gang case, didn't he, like, go to anyone suspected in the case, like, basically harass them by, like, banging on their doors, throwing stuff at them in the EL? Didn't he inspire all those violence and riots?
He doorstepped them. He doorstepped them, which is a common journalistic tactic. Do you know what doorstepping is? It's if you okay, so, like, you're a journalist and someone is convicted of, like, some, like, vicious rape, like, shit, and you go to their door and you say, and you shove a microphone in their face, you're BBC News, you're ITV News, you're Channel 4 News. But when Tommy Robinson does it, like, it's suddenly a big crime. Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
No, didn't he,
like doorstepping is a common journalistic tactic, and when Tommy Robinson does it,
look, if we're saying that Tommy Robinson is the equivalent of a journalist, like, he's already shit for that. Like, that's not a good look on him. Like, are you kidding me? No, journalists are scum. Like, why would I want to vote for a guy who called himself a journalist? Like that doesn't really help his case. And the other thing is, like, again, he likes to make a big deal over these Muslim rape gangs, how he keeps on talking about them. What's the point in violating like the court's procedures twice and getting yourself arrested and making yourself out to be a victim? Like he wasn't even sent to jail.
Well, he was
the first time to let him off with a slap on the wrist, and then he goes back there again and does the same thing again, and then cries about how he's a victim.
Well, you call it a slap in the wrist. He was actually vindicated on that one. It was because they were told, okay, you didn't do anything wrong there. That was a literal, like, you actually did nothing wrong there. So it wasn't even a slap on the wrist. It was a no crime committed. Okay. The second time, it was doorstepping, which is a common journalistic tactic, which is shove the camera in someone's face, put yourself in front of them, get a fucking interview on the...
That's not what the judge said at all.
Fuck him. Are you defending a Muslim rapist? Oh, the Muslim rapist got uncomfortable. Boo-hoo. Who gives a shit?
Look.
Boo-hoo.
Listen.
The Muslim rapist got uncomfortable because he got doorstepped.
Yeah, that's not... Dude,
unfortunate.
Listen. Okay, so it's not that the Muslim rapist got... No, fuck that guy. Like, who cares how he feels? The point is, like,
Then why do you care? Why do you care how he was interviewed?
I'm not, like, you're mixing... You know what I'm talking about here. Like, here's the thing. Okay, so, the two cases I'm talking about are... I'm not talking about, like, the time when he went to the suspected these crimes and banged on their doors, like, and yelled through the windows and tried, and, like, basically through, like was trying to, like where you're stepping. I'm talking about the two incidences where he went to the court to get himself some publicity and started filming on the court grounds, which is not kosher.
That's also called doorstepping. Okay, that's also called doorstepping. It doesn't matter where you literally do it. Where you get an interview, where you go to some
in America, in the UK, whichever,
outside it,
and start filming just randomly.
It does. Oh, if I worked for BBC News, that would be completely kosher. My doorstepping is literally going to someone, like,
you can't record.
You have no idea.
The courtroom
filming someone outside. Filming outside.
And trials are conducted
outside it.
Yes,
outside it on the street. Really?
Again, they have laws and procedures. Like, you can disagree with the specific procedures, but it doesn't make him like a victim in this.
Makes you think.
The whole reason why Tommy Robinson was doing that was just to gain attention, to make it seem like he was doing something. All he was doing was just trying to draw attention to himself and his brand. He's trying to make himself out to be this national hero.
Why not?
Because he's not. He's not a hero.
Why not?
I don't. And like you say, oh, he was right about the Muslim rape gangs. Oh, yeah, Muslims are pedophiles. Oh, that's a big shocking revelation there, isn't it? Like, anyone can point that out. And yeah, that doesn't mean...
To boomers, yeah, it is, yeah. To boomers, yeah, sure. I'm sorry, but this is what's really frustrating. Okay, having a camera crew and filming outside a court. If you're BBC News, if you're ITN, if you're Channel 4, if you're Sky News, if you're Daily Mail, completely kosher, completely all right, not a problem. That's fine for the last 10 years, completely fine. Film outside with your film crew outside a court. If you're Tommy Robinson, you film outside a court, amongst, might I add, amongst BBC, amongst ITV, amongst Channel 4, amongst Sky crews that were doing the exact same thing. But if you're Tommy Robinson, you do that, that actually violates bylaw, blah, 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 bullshit. That violates bylaw, blah, 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 about purging the court. Fuck off. Like, he was doing the exact same thing as anyone else was doing in that, outside that court. It was a bullshit conviction. It was nonsense.
News networks showing this, like, there's not news networks hanging outside of courtrooms just filming, trying to get trying to film.
Literally
film the people prosecuted and tried for any.
Every major, I'm sorry, but like every major court case, every major actual court case that news organisations choose, and I like choose to focus on. They will have like interviews outside court and like big things outside court, and they'll doorstep people outside court, and there are people like the victims outside court. They'll cover their face with their like jackets to like hide their face outside camera. The camera shoves themselves in the face, and but when Tommy Robinson calls a rapist, like, oh well, you're a piece of shit. Oh well, that's too much. That's too much. Like, come on. please.
Again, I'm okay. I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this idea that all the news companies were going ahead and filming this stuff because, firstly, they would have.
They do.
If that was the case, and they would just be filming, wouldn't they themselves be filming the Muslim case just to get the publicity waves off of it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's not about publicity. You don't make news. You don't make money from covering news. You do know.
Like, yeah, you got to make money from covering news.
There's no money in news.
Here's the thing I don't get. Here's the thing I don't get about Tommy Robinson's case. Like, he was told multiple times. Like, he was told once before, hey, don't be filming the jurors going in there. Don't be doing that. It's against these laws.
Hey, don't cover rape gams.
Like, I don't
cover rape gams, guys.
Like, look,
don't cover rape
that these news organizations were doing that, but the judge wouldn't just pull the rule out of his ass like that.
You're doing too much journalism. Stop with the journalism, guys.
Okay, what journalism was he doing? Look,
stop with the WikiLeaks, guys. You're doing too much journalism.
Okay,
you're doing too much journalism, guys. Stop covering the rape gap.
My question is to you: what journalism was Tommy Robinson doing, filming the jurors entering the courtroom when, again, like, they were about to be tried? Like, they already got the guys suspected on these crimes and being tried in front of a court of law. And again, for the context there, he already tried filming inside the courtroom. They said, hey, don't do that. Put the camera down. You're not supposed to record on these grounds. We have specific laws and rules about these courtrooms. And you also went ahead earlier and said that, oh, well, they also all these news organizations all the time fill these things, and suddenly only when Tommy Robinson does it is a problem. Is that really the case, or is it the case that the specific circumstances in which Tommy did it was the issue? Because this is a high-profile case that the British courts didn't want any kind of undue exposure to the jury to I remember reading the document on this. It specifically said they didn't want the jurors to be negatively affected in the case. And the reason why they were stopping Tommy Robinson from doing what he was doing was because by law, if that footage came out, if they went ahead and did that, if the jurors were compromised, then they would have to retry those Muslim rapists. So that would mean that they would be able to get off, potentially, because of Tommy Robinson's actions. So I don't see, like, if the whole issue is, oh, we got to lock up the Muslim rapist, I don't see why by compromising the trial, make it so with a trial, which, yeah, they might be guilty, but they're still entitled to a trial. I don't see how compromising that is going to work. That's my issue with this here.
Okay, I really, really have an issue with Tommy Robinson purging a trial amongst people that are already in court who don't have access to the internet, because obviously when you're part of the jury, you hand in your mobile phone, you don't have any access to the outside world. I really, really have an issue with Tommy Robinson potentially purging the court when they have no access to the outside world whatsoever for the entire time of the court. He really purged the court by covering a story that the jury had no access to whatsoever.
So
that's bollocks. That's really, really bollocks.
So you're saying that's
complete bollocks.
Like, that's what you mean when you say the law.
I'm saying you're bullshit. I'm saying you're bullshit. You're bullshit. If Tommy Robinson covers a story, okay, he covers a story on the internet, and he has this he has this only fucking handy cam or whatever, and he shoves it in the face of some muskrat who raped some fucking 10 kids or whatever, and he shoves it in the face of some muskrat, okay, outside the courthouse. The jury has no knowledge of that whatsoever, because the jury are already in the court and already don't have their mobile phones and don't have any access to the outside world.
Yeah, everyone is offline these days,
right? Yes,
dude,
he didn't commit perjury. He didn't commit perjury of the court because the court.
Not perjury, you idiot. They have specific rules and regulations about what you can and cannot film, and Tommy Robinson previously broke them and then tried breaking them.
Oh, okay. So if you're Sky News, it's okay, but if you're Tommy Robinson, it ain't okay.
I mean,
that's
fine.
Fine.
You can show me examples where Sky News, in the same exact manner, the same
fine.
exact way, did what Tommy Robinson did for the same type of thing. Then yeah, I'd say that's kind of.
Oh, it's kosher.
But if it's the problem is the law is being okay, so either the law is not being applied. In either case, there's one of two things going on there. Either one, the law is bullshit, and if that's the case, Tommy Robinson should still follow it, because you don't just get to have a pass from these sorts of things just because it's dumb. And two, if the law is being applied unfairly, if that's the other thing, then I mean the solution there is Sky News should follow the same regulations. That doesn't change the fact that Tommy, like, you know, was doing something that was unnecessary, would have caused these guys to possibly get off the trial, and the only one who benefited from that situation would be Tommy Robinson.
Oy vey. Okay, that's fine. It's completely fine. One rule for ITN, one rule for Associated Press, one rule for BBC News, and one rule for Tommy Robinson.
That's not what I said.
What
I said was
the people ruling on their case. The people ruling on the case were in their bubble, who didn't purge the case at all in any literal sense, in any real sense, and yet he was convicted of perjuring the case, even though that.
Oh, so it's only the consequence that matter, not the intent, right? That's how the law works. It's not the attempt to do something.
Are you autistic? Like, it's. I'm sorry, but I really think journalism is important.
Think
people should know shit. I think people should know shit, and I think that guerrilla journalism is the most important. It's the greatest thing we have. I think it's the best thing that we have. That we all have cameras in our pockets. It's great.
Okay,
it's
awesome,
brilliant.
Awesome. So let's talk about the results.
Great.
Let's talk about the results here, since that's what we're focusing on. If Tommy Robinson were to like shove a camera into these rats' faces and like, you know, these people's faces, put them on the internet,
most rats,
absolute
rats,
what would that accomplish exactly?
I think it'll give light to the fact that these muzzrats are raping kids.
Give light to that these muzzrats are raping kids by like taking their and putting on exactly.
Is that a serious question? Are you
asking? So these guys are walking into the courtroom.
Why would XY show?
I'll ask you. How would that make them aware? How would that prove that these guys are guilty exactly?
Oh, great. Okay. Why would showcasing these rapists make people realize these people are raping kids?
Right? So how are you raising awareness by shoving a camera in their face exactly?
He was shoving a camera in their face when they were entering court. So when they were convicted of raping kids, then
when they're convicted of raping kids, I mean, wouldn't they know that they were convicted of raping kids by the court records? Wouldn't there be news stories that come out after the trial is over?
We would, yes.
Or am I mistaken about this? Like, weren't those guys convicted? Like, don't we already know this? Isn't this news people can regularly look up?
I mean, probably,
then
yeah.
What is Tommy Robinson accomplishing?
So we shouldn't interview people.
No.
Is what you're asking. We shouldn't interfere
with rules and regulations for court proceedings, because if you violate those, it could potentially go ahead and let people off the hook. Like, if they'd have to be retried, the defense lawyer could easily say, "Well, Your Honor, this video was released. It hurt the trial. It affected the jury here, and it would just cause it to be thrown out." That was the concern there.
Okay, so it wasn't. It really wasn't. Okay, so let's be honest. Right, okay,
so again, I don't see how Tommy Robinson violating the law helps anyone but Tommy Robinson in this scenario. You haven't.
Let's be honest. What actually happened? Okay, so there's a court proceeding where 20 white working class girls were raped, and I think now mainstream news organisations are not really covering it. There'll be a few that give it like a few local papers and so on. They'll cover it, they're in sort of like page 60 or whatever. But like I live in that community and I recognise that 200 working class white girls were raped, and that means something to me, and I'm immensely invested in that story. So I go in and I say, "Fuck it, let me get my iPhone. I'm going to record them. Fuck it. I'm going to be ITN. I'm going to be Sky News. I'm going to be BBC News. I'm going to make a story out of this. Fuck it. Fuck, international cohesion. Fuck global homo. I'm going to make a story out of this. Fuck it. I get my camera and I fucking shove it in their face like any fucking other journalist would do. And they're the fucking stones to do it. And I say, whatever the fuck. Are you really defending against that? Really?
My issue is,
really?
Maybe the laws are bullshit, and maybe there should be, maybe it should be a little bit more lax. So that way, you could have independent guerrilla journalists. And I don't think Tommy's competent in that. I haven't seen any competency in him exposing or revealing any story. And frankly, I don't even think you're going to get much answers by shoving a camera into an accused man's face and saying, how do you feel about this? Why did you do this? Like, I don't really, that might work in very select circumstances, but in general, I don't see the guy just, suddenly caving in. I just see him, walking away. like the guys did when Tommy did it. Like we have the footage of that, so it didn't really amount to anything really. But the thing is, the point I'm getting at is that I'm not trying to say that the laws are fair and they're good. I'm saying that given that those laws exist and given the potential consequences of them after you've been warned about them specifically, that a retrial can happen, and violating those laws have no benefit.
You shouldn't break unjust laws, really. You shouldn't break unjust laws.
Sometimes you gotta obey laws that are bullshit. Sorry. Like, what?
Really? Please. You shouldn't. You really believe that? Really, you should obey unjust laws.
Really. I mean, if we're talking about like someone's being persecuted on the street, of course you gotta stop him with that. But like, we're not talking about that kind of scenario. Like, sorry, sometimes you have to do shit and like the taste of it. That's life. Like, you can't just LARP as a revolutionary or guerrilla journalist and expect to get results that way. You'll fail. What'll happen is it'll blow up in your face.
Yeah, okay. You shouldn't put a light on rape cams.
That's not what I said.
Okay.
No,
you should just be a good boy and.
That's not what I said at all.
Just be a good boy and work within the confines of law. I mean, like, be a good boy.
That's not the point. Like, if there was a gain to what Tommy Robinson was doing by breaking the law, then yeah, there might be a case for it. But there was no gain in what Tommy Robinson was doing, and you haven't demonstrated how there would be any gain from doing this, other than some petty satisfaction of owning the rapist, which again they were
apart from putting light on the fact that rape gangs. Be a good boy. Follow the law. Be a good boy.
That's not what I said.
It's just follow the law. Don't point your camera on anything that the government don't want you to see. I mean, okay, I get it. I get it.
Again, what is the gain here?
That people realize that fucking rape gangs exist. People realize that most
people are already aware of that. There are people at rallies that go ahead and they say.
No, they're not. They're aware of it because Tommy Robinson is pointing a camera to it. They're aware of it because of Tommy Robinson's advocacy. Like, if you're going to say, okay, let's ban what people...
what has changed? Have the Muslim rape gangs gone away? Are fucking now because Tommy Robinson pooped away by putting them on camera?
Okay, so
you want to talk about
let's cancel a political movement because it's not.
Question, why doesn't Tommy Robinson?
Let's cancel
hypothetically, why doesn't he just go to one of these places and just, lead a crusade and kill them all?
Okay, you got to work within the confines of reality.
So now
okay, so you've got to work within. You got to work within what you have. Okay, so just because you can't take over the literal world, just because you can't, okay. So if I was a pro-choice. Let's say I'm a pro-choice advocate. Just because I can't get everyone to not have an abortion, just because I can't have everyone to not have an abortion over the whole world, that doesn't mean I won't be a pro-choice advocate.
Well, firstly, you mean
you're doing this autistic advocate. Everyone has to do everything, and otherwise you don't do it. That's the most autistic point of view ever.
You're saying there. You're saying that you have to have guys pointing cameras in these men who are going to be convicted.
Yes.
Why? What's the point of that?
Okay, so we hide it. We hide
it. There's you're making this dichotomy. Either you take a camera, you break the law after you've been warned by a judge not to do this, otherwise you'll serve jail time. You do that, and you point a camera in their face, you get arrested, you get locked up, you get made an embarrassment of. This goes on your record, and it makes you look bad when you try to get more involved in politics and activism. Versus, hey, maybe you talk about it. Maybe you point out that the police covered up the scandal and focus on them. Maybe you point out that, hey, this has been going on for a long time. Maybe you do some actual investigative work.
That's what Tommy did. That's literally what Tommy did. But I have to go for at least a minute because I really need a piss.
All right, well,
because I've drunk so much. At least sunset me or whatever. But
I mean, sure. It's fine.
Okay.
Honestly, I wasn't planning on going on long, but it was fine debating
at
this point. I will admit that there are certain things about UK politics that I don't know. I think I said as much on the stream earlier. But yeah, if I'm incorrect about the assessment because of overall about Carl's effect on the party, then I'm incorrect. But honestly, from my vantage point, seeing the news of all these election losses, seeing the news of all these negative comments in on the news, I just see it but my present take on the matter is that's wrong. But if I'm incorrect about that, if I look into it further and I see that Sargon's not the death knell, then yeah, I'll correct it. So.
Okay, no worries. Well, thanks for having me on.
Have a good night.
And thanks. See ya.
All right, so that ends that. Anyway, all right, so just look at the chat real quick. All right, so I think we're just going to end things here. Yeah, just to reiterate a couple points. Yeah, sorry, I just don't agree with that point about Tommy, about it being necessary for Tommy to go against court procedures like that. Because again, I don't see as an acceptable risk for a retrial on guys that raped kids. Like, I'd rather see those guys get locked up forever. So I don't see that now. Oh wait, there was some criticism that I did want to address though, chat. So I'll just read that off and I'll close this out. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right. It seems to have been. I can't seem to find it at the moment. So I'll probably like I know Carlos had some choice words against some of the things I was saying about Sargon. If you're still listening, leave a comment and I will address it. Any event, I'm gonna close things down, and like I said, I might take off for tomorrow, but I will be back. I'll be back to streaming soon. I want to get this to be like every night a stream rather than just being sporadically. I said as much earlier, and I think this week I succeeded. 7 days in a row, there's been 7 streams. And one thing though, if Andy streams, I'm gonna be on. I guarantee it. So unless I'm busy with some kind of in real life shit where I can't access my PC, I will be there stream sniping Andy every single time. And there's going to be more news about Andy, so I'm definitely going to cover that. Those streams turn out to work out the best, and I really, really enjoy making fun of that guy. All right, so I'm going to close things off. You all have a good night, and peace out.